Okay, here's the video that we promised to follow up on this KBH call we had. Let me go back to the daily chart. Okay, it popped up to 1510 yesterday, and we also had another recent high of 1515. So at 1511, we figured that could take it through 1515 and give you a decent pop. Now let's zoom in today using fives. There's a 2-day chart to show you something important first. See how it gapped down below all this consolidation yesterday? And then its early low was 1455. Okay, so for that reason, as I said in the video yesterday when we sent this out, and I'm going to try to follow up with videos to kind of teach you what we do here. For that reason, the fact that it hit all the way down at 1455, then we're not going to buy it when it gets to that trigger price we talked about of 1511. Simply because it's already had a big run and it just feels like chasing, and you're more apt to get whipped out of it. And you can see it did go to 1549, so you could have had a decent little trade there, but then it rolled over like we suspected it might. We really try not to trade in the first 30 minutes at all, so I would have preferred this not to trigger, maybe gone along sideways and then triggered later in the day, or at least not in the first 30 minutes. So for that reason, we didn't take the trigger. For some of us that wanted to trade early, again, we don't normally trade in the first 30 minutes. We did call a possible scalp on it at 1530. Sorry about that. Right, and if you'd used 1 minute candles, you could have seen it had a little base here, and then 1530 it did pop to 1549. But we always sell half almost immediately into a pop and go to a break-even stop on the rest. So really no harm done there, but looking at the daily chart, we didn't get quite what we normally would have, but there's rules in place for a reason, and it keeps us out of the morning chaos. So, and really, it's not a what you'd call a recordable trade for us because we don't trade in the first 30. But I have some anxious folks in chat, so that was an idea, and I think some of them scalped that for a little bit. More in line with what we do here, JCPenney. See how this one hit 2048, 2047 here, and then went sideways. I almost hit it here again, right about here. I called it at 2048. I said if it breaks that early high, 2048 was the trigger, and a stop at 2020. So that's 28-cent risk, and you can see it triggered, never came close to our stop, and from 2048 all the way to 2208 for a very big percentage gain. And we teach our members to scale out, move your stop to break even on the other half or the other third, whatever you have left. And then later in the day when you see something like this, you go ahead and take profits on the rest. So very nice trade in JCPenney today. And you notice it didn't occur in the first 30 minutes. So those are our favorites. I actually called OSK today during lunchtime. See, these are 5-minute candles. See this tight base here? Now, we don't usually trade during lunch, but this was so tight that 848 was the trigger, stop at 840, so an 8-cent risk. And this was a single trade that occurred down here. It did not roll over and trade down to there, so that you've probably seen charts get messed up like that, so that is not an actual, and I know that for a fact because I had my stop. I had a hard stop in at 840 and it didn't trigger, so 848, and this thing ran all the way to 921 for a big profit potential there with very little risk. Again, that's the whole key to what we do. LVS, tight base here, Las Vegas Sands. It hit an early high of 670. I told everybody I love the daily chart if this thing can break this base. So 671 trigger. Worst case scenario, 652 stop. So less than 20-cent risk. And from 671, we get a run to 773 for a 15% profit potential on that trade today. And again, you'll notice it occurred during slow times when there's no chaos, and the first 30 minutes was left alone. So you don't have to trade early to take advantage of big moves. And then last but not least, we also called MGM, another casino. It hit an early high of 1390, hit 1389 here, and then went sideways. So we called it back above this at 1390, which it triggered right here. Stop at 1367, something like that. So less than 30-cent risk there. And I literally sold almost at the top, because when I saw it popping like that, if you get a trigger at 1390 and you turn around and it's at 1470 10 minutes later, sold half almost immediately, like I always do, and then the other half into that pop. So MGM also very nice profit potential today. So those were the intelligent trades. And again, we also gave that KBH little bit of a run early in the morning, but it didn't follow our rules. And you can see from looking at the charts that we do trade, our rules are in place for a reason. They keep day trading very low risk, even though it has the stigma of being risky. In today's market, buy and hold is the only risky thing I see. So, if you're patient and you wait for the setups, you can make some really big gains just by, being in a group of solid traders and waiting for the correct opportunities. So we had a really good day today, and we'll send out another video highlighting a free pick. And again, we want you to look at these videos to kind of learn what we do, so you understand when we send out a pick like KBH that it's not necessarily automatically a buy. Okay, so even though it would have worked this morning as a quick trade, we prefer to not trade anything in the first 30 minutes. So have a good night.